Hey guys, welcome to YOLO with ToLo. Looks like there's a chain here. Hope you guys are having a great week. I'm going live from my bedroom. It's one of those days where, actually one of those weeks where I just did not really, I just wanted to veg and didn't want to get out of bed. But we're going to talk about that today. Today's topic is something that is super near and dear to my heart and Lonnell's heart. And today we're going to talk about sharing your story and the power of that and the power of vulnerability. I can't even talk. Let me wait here for my co-host Lonnell to get on. Now it's allowing me to add. So the power of vulnerability. Can't talk today. But anyway, I hope you guys are having a good week. Hey, Lonnell, how are you?
Do we have it this time? How are you?
Yes, we do.
Woohoo! What's going on?
Hey. Kevin is our timekeeper today. Hey, Kevin. How are you?
I am wonderful. I am home right now, but like as soon as we get done, I'm literally running to the airport and back on the road again. But I've been home all weekend. It's been wonderful.
Awesome. So last week you had a busy kind of travel week, and you were a little bit of hush-hush because you couldn't divulge yet. We promised people you divulge this week.
Right. Well, everybody knows now, but I got to go to be one of the first to see the new exhibit with Oprah Winfrey at the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture, and it is phenomenal. And just the detail. I had to write her chief of staff, Amy, and just be like, "Look, girl, you did that." Because they had stuff in there like Oprah's iPod, her ID from her. Just so many details of things that you wouldn't necessarily think were there. And then the way they chronicled everything just throughout her career, it's just absolutely amazing. Yeah. So I would suggest that everyone who is in DC, or if you get to DC, you get a chance to see that. It's going to be there for a year, but amazing exhibit. But yes, I got to go spend some time there, and it was wonderful.
That's awesome. And it's called Watching Oprah, right? It's sort of like a tribute to Oprah's everything that she's contributed
just
to
her
humanity,
influence
really,
on the
right?
Culture. It's amazing.
Yeah,
absolutely amazing.
That is so awesome. I can't wait to go, and I really want to go to watch it with you, just because I think it would be even more special.
Let's do it. I'm always down to go to that museum in DC because every time I go, I learn something new. But yeah, I would love to. I'm having my
awesome.
tea.
So what was your
favorite thing? And I got this mug there last time when I was there too. That's from the portrait gallery.
I love it. And then is there on the other side? I saw one with Michelle Obama on your Instagram.
Oh, that's this mug. It's a separate mug. She has her own mug.
So you got two. Cool.
But I've got two.
Oh, I'll have to get them when I go. Exciting. I cannot wait to go. And I think it's so special that, I don't even know if there are any other museums or kind of tributes like that, or I don't even know what you call that. I mean, that honors a living legend. Is there?
No, I don't think people don't usually get it when they're alive.
Yeah,
so
right.
That's the huge thing of this is like, oh, she's actually getting this while she's still here. That's amazing.
Yeah, totally. And it just ties into our ToLo's hot topics for this week in terms of, telling people you love them, telling people when you're feeling good, telling people when you're feeling pain, and the power of sharing your story and the power of being vulnerable, and how it gives other people permission, right, to do the same when you are. And like you look on my Toan and Lonnell TV Instagram, and social media, Twitter, and all that.
You had a very emotional post.
Yeah. And you look at your 3LW TV.
And how are you doing?
Thanks for asking. I was saying that, like you look at our posts and you see, like we always see the silver lining. We share the positives, right? But I once in a while too, I mean, like you and I, God knows that we've been through our challenges personally, professionally, and spiritually. But thank you for asking. So, Kevin, if you could at some point share the blog and the video that I shared. But as you guys know, last week we talked a lot about grief and just like changes and how things are here to teach us something to kind of grow our souls, right? And about a week ago was the 1-year anniversary of my brother-in-law. His name is Chris, my sister's husband's death anniversary. And I speak about it very candidly now. about how he shot himself in the chest, and my sister and my 8-year-old niece found him. And just after that had happened in the last year, Lonnell, you know, I am the GSD, I call it get shiz done kind of attitude. It's like, here I go. Flew to Florida from San Francisco, where I live now. Went to go take care of them, plan the funeral, like gave my sister a list of 20 things she needed to do to help them move, coordinate all this stuff. And, you know, you and I all talk a lot about self care. And it's hard when you're in the thick of it, right? It's just like when spirituality, and positive thinking, it's great when things are great. But really, when you really need it is when shit goes down, you know?
Right.
And for me, like, all the stuff was like a whirlwind of stuff, moving them back to Sacramento, being by my family and all that stuff. And, you know, I never had time for me. And although I thought, you know, I was like taking care of myself, I never really sought or even talked about it much, even though I love sharing, you know, and it was just a part of me that I just felt like I needed to process. And you and I talk a lot about grieving and how there's no really right way to grieve. Some of us like to be alone. Some of us like to be in nature, you know, so for me, it's writing, right? And so the hot topic this week we're talking about is Anthony Bourdain's suicide, and that CNN has confirmed it. And, you know, this one hit me really hard and cracked me open.
I could tell it was a huge trigger for you.
Huge trigger.
Huge
That's a
trigger.
great word. Yeah. And so what had happened was I woke up in the morning and I was like sobbing, and I pulled myself out of bed after I read the news, and I was driving CrossFit, and I was like crying on the way to CrossFit, and I'm like, I'm gonna feel better after I work out. Went to work out.
Why do you keep pushing it off? Why do you keep pushing off that? It doesn't sound like you want to sit in that raw emotion of that pain. You keep kind of trying to find somewhere to keep yourself busy.
Yeah, call me out, brother. Call me out, because you're right. I'm like, okay, you're right. You know, it dawned on me now. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to CrossFit. I'm gonna get out of this, you know, and then I go do my thing, put on a straight face, a little bit more quiet than usual during my workout. Then I come home and I'm getting ready for a meeting, and then I'm showering, and then I lost it. Like, I was like crying in my hands unconsolably, you know. And when I don't know what you do I would love to know what you do when you're in that kind of like mode where like you do the ugly cry and you just like, it's uncontrollable, right? I write. And so generally I pull out my computer, and I have a lot of private writing that I do that I don't share. And I was trying to write, and I was like crying so hard that I could not see the computer screen. And I had my phone in my hand, and I just pressed record, and no pre-production, no nothing, no thinking about what I was going to say. I was just crying and talking to the phone like Chris was on the other end. And it was cathartic. And I just cried and cried. And then I was like, my heart was beating really fast. And Kevin, who's a good friend of mine too, who's our production coordinator here, soul brother of mine. Thanks for sharing that blog. So I shared it with Kevin, and I was like, Kevin, I'm kind of embarrassed to share this because I don't want it to seem like I am wanting attention or don't want to bring attention to me. Anytime the whole mental illness or going to see a psychiatrist or suicide or anything comes up, people are ashamed of sharing. Right. So I sent the blog to Kevin. I wrote a blog after, just kind of sharing my emotions and what led up to this post. And he was like, people need to hear this, and this is good. And people need to hear this from you. Good. So thank you for acknowledging that.
Was this the first time in the year since your brother-in-law has passed that you actually sat in the raw emotion like that? Yeah. And because you keep, when you try to suppress it, and you don't allow yourself to sit in it, and just, even though it's raw and painful, don't get stuck there. But you gotta acknowledge it, see, and then it comes up, and it's okay. Yeah. It's okay. You've just made yourself busy. And a lot of us do that. We find some type of way to numb ourselves, and you're busy taking care of everyone else, and you want to make sure that they're okay, that they're grieving and they're going through it, but you still have to make time for yourself. Yeah. And I think that's what happened. Your body was like, okay.
Yeah. And exactly. And thank you for actually bringing that up. And, you know, having conversations help me. And I'm tearing up and crying now because I'm having a big aha, and like chills are going through my body. And that's when I know that the universe is like trying to send me like an affirmation. But you're right. I like, why did I get out of bed and feel like I had to face the day and pretend that I was okay when you should sit with it, you
Right.
know? And I did sit with it. I was forced to sit with it. And you know, the Kate Spade thing, it was sad and it hit me in a different way. But I think the Bourdain thing really hit me in a lot of the circle of my friends hard because I love to eat, you know that.
Right.
And so food was a part of something that I felt like I shared with Anthony Bourdain. He shared with us, and going and being truthful. And this all of what this conversation is about. It touched our hearts. He touched our hearts because he was just real. He went out there, he would go squat and eat pho with somebody, you know, the Vietnamese rice
Yeah.
noodles. You know, he like taught Obama how to flirt. He was, you know, like he would eat, you know, he would eat and eat with everybody
so
on the streets
much.
and open us up, you know. And the fact that he was, to me, you know, I'm a storyteller, journalist. So we're sort of brothers in storytelling, in TV. Circles of
And
my
for me,
friends
with
who have
food and
worked
travel,
with him,
yeah, exactly,
right? And
exactly.
travel for you too, yeah. So, oh, so it hit me really hard. And when I read that he had an 11-year-old girl that he left behind, I completely lost it even more because I thought about my niece and nephew who are about the same age. So,
Right.
so anyway, so I shared that blog, and it's just so many people have shared their stories with me and share how they're still grieving about my brother-in-law or about somebody else that they lost. So it's really cathartic in sharing. How did it affect you? Like, what were you doing? How did
Well,
you find out?
when it came on, I was up that morning before the news. Like when the news broke, I was watching the early morning CNN thing, and then like right when I turned on the TV, they hadn't spoken it yet. It was like breaking news, which is like everything. But on the ticker or whatever on the bottom, it came up and it said Anthony Bourdain dead at 61, and I was just like, no. It was like the same moment I had when I was in Thailand during 9/11, and they said the ticker came across and said the Twin Towers collapsed. And
Yeah.
I was thinking like, no, CNN is a reliable news source. That can't be true. And it was kind of that moment
Yeah.
again. And I was like,
Mm.
no, no. Then I just got still and was like, okay, what is the universe trying to tell us right now? And what I got from that is in all of the vitriol and all of the selfishness and all of the greed and all of these things that are trying to hijack the narrative, you have to remember that life is short and it's meant to be lived.
Mm.
And so sometimes for me, what I got is that you need to be in this right now. And it also told me you need to spread some love and you really need to reach
Mm.
out, because I have a couple of friends that have confided to me that they suffer with depression. And I went through a slight one a couple of years ago.
Oh, I didn't
And
know that.
and it was, yeah, I'm writing about it in the book. So when the book is done,
Mm.
then we'll really go get into detail about it.
Wow. Okay.
But it made me reach out to them, and I was just like, listen, I'm just checking in. I want you to know how much I love you, blah blah blah. But I know
Oh.
sometimes those that whatever it is in your head, I don't understand those demons to that
Mm.
extent, where I'd want to take my own life. But I just really don't want anyone to have to go through that.
Mm.
And I'm kind of with this whole, there was a lot of publicizing the national suicide line.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we talked about this before, but I had a friend who was contemplating suicide, and I called them. And when I got done talking to that person on that phone, I wanted to commit homicide. I was like, this is I mean, it was, oh my God, it was such a disappointment, because basically it was like, well, if he's not really gonna do it, then there was no direction, no
Mm.
guide, no, they weren't even trying to calm me down. It was
Mm.
just, well, your friend's going to do that. So who knows?
Yeah. I
Sorry.
mean,
But
thank.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it affected me differently. Um, but
Yeah.
it
Oof.
was a wake up call. Like, I need to spread some more love. I need to check in with people, not be so busy, not be so self-centered. And despite all of that collective vitriol, to look in my own world and see the love right in front of me, and stop listening to the far extremes of the media. And that's kind of what I got from that, because he was, I mean, that did feel personal, even though I never met Anthony Bourdain, I didn't know him, but it still felt personal, maybe because I had so much respect and held him in such reverence for his craft. And so
Yes. Yes.
that was,
Absolutely.
yeah, very tough.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Wow, I never knew that you had gone through that too. And it's funny because I feel like our relationship and relationships in general, and as being human beings, like we are peeling the layers off of an onion, you know? And
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
and we have
It
this
wasn't a big
segment.
thing, but it was enough.
Yeah,
It was very. It took me a while. I didn't realize I was even in that until like I realized some things that I wasn't doing. Like I wasn't my normal self.
yes. You
But
know,
yeah, we'll
that's a
talk
really
about it
good
another
point.
time.
That's a great point because I was talking with one of my friends earlier in the day, and we were just talking about Bourdain. She's a fellow journalist, and you know, it just goes right into our second segment, "Dump the Hump," when we talk about you know, how to get over your slump. Not just Wednesday; it's Wednesday's hump since we talk on Wednesdays, but just getting
Right.
through the challenges in your life. But we were just talking about this exact same thing. This whole notion and idea of when you know, like, you know, when you're driving your car, new car, old car, whatever, and you know when there's like a little rattle or something's off.
Right. And you
You
turn up the
know,
music and pretend like you don't hear it.
yeah,
Right.
right, yeah. Many people do that, or many people get busy like I did and like go to work out or go do this and just
Right.
try to stay busy instead of like sitting with it and dealing with it. What I should have done was went right to my computer and started writing, or you should do whatever it is that feels right to you to heal, nature, whatever. And I knew that I didn't really want to go work out. I just was like, didn't want to, but I just forced myself just so that I wouldn't think about it, right? And so what my friend and I were talking about was this whole notion of, you know, when, you know, she was saying that she got into this depressed mode too after leaving her TV reporting job in San Diego. And so she was like, you know, I got depressed. I didn't want to get out of bed. It had become my identity. And I knew that that wasn't the true me, that
Right.
I love people and that I want to get out of bed. I get excited
Right.
about things, it made me reflect on my life recently too. In this last year, it's like I usually, you know, we've been together in person, you know, and we talk about this all the time of just like when I go on a walk, I live right by the water here, and my view is Alcatraz, you know, and I just like I see the water, or I'll stop and see a spider spinning the web, and I'm just in awe. Or I take photographs on my Instagram of flowers or whatever, and that excites me, and that's naturally who I am, and naturally I want you to be better and do better for yourself and others and help people. And when you're not in that state, and when you don't feel like getting out of bed, and you feel, I told her I felt cold, my soul felt cold, and I didn't feel the warmth of life and energy and people, and that's when you know that something's wrong. And for you to try to, like you said, face it. And
Right.
facing it is, for me, sharing. Like, now that I've opened up and started talking about the healing has begun. You know, I started to grieve Chris. I you know, face the fact that I was mad at him and mad at my sister and sad for my sister and sad for him and all this stuff. And then once you go through all those emotions and you process, you know, it loops back out to gratitude and joy for me, you know, and like
Right.
I'm feeling these little spurts of joy, you know, in this
Right.
conversation. Like I was like, I get to talk to Lord now, you know.
And
You
it's
know,
far more, isn't it far more empowering for you, or more of a relief when you do it, when you face it, than the fear of not facing it and all that time you were spending suppressing it, making yourself busy doing other
yes,
things and not dealing with it. It's like it just boiled up and then it
yeah,
came out uncontrollably.
yeah,
But don't you feel much, like you said, you said you're feeling better. So
yeah.
I
Oh
think
God, I
that
feel
is
so
a,
much better, and it's almost like when you're sweeping, and there's still work to be done, you know.
of
Like
course.
you know, I talk openly about losing 4 family members: my dad, my aunt to cancer, and then my 2 grandmothers, all in a year's time, about a year's time. And
Wow.
I will still sometimes drive past something or have a whiff of something, and then I'll just start crying, and it's okay, you know. And you feel kind of crazy, you know, but it is okay to do you. You do you,
Okay,
boo.
yeah,
We need to get a T-shirt
right.
that says that, because
Do you, boo? Right.
yeah, right. I know,
Yeah,
right?
I always, yeah, and I always, like I, I've said, I've always, like with my grandmother, especially, I still feel her presence in my house every day, because the whole reason that I even have this, and that I'm able to be here, is because of stuff that she set up for me, just through
Yeah.
her example and just how she nurtured and cared for me growing up. So I still feel her presence
Oh,
every day in my, and
yeah,
not even just when I'm home, but especially when I'm at home.
yeah.
So
Oh,
um,
that's so special. Yeah, it's
So
funny because I felt like, like I know in a lot of, people of color, especially like Asian families, is that you're really close to your grandparents, right? And my paternal grandmother, I got a photo of her right here. I've shared it before, but I love it. It's right next to my bed. Yeah, that's me in a
oh yeah.
refuge. That's me in a refugee camp. Yeah. Oh, look at the little halo looking light. That's my ring light that they
Right.
gave me. But look. Um, but anyway, that's my grandma, and that's little Toan. I think I was like a year and a half or two there.
I
But
love it.
she's just in my heart, and she's taught me. She's Buddhist, and she's just taught me so many things about the ways of the world and about gratitude and about the stuff we're talking about now. And although she would cry and be like, oh, I can't give you guys a car, or I didn't raise a son that could give you guys a car, or this and that, and she gets sad about those material things. But you know what? I'll buy my own car. I actually did, um,
Right.
and and she taught me all these spiritual things. And when I connect with you, I feel her sometimes, and when I have different conversations about things or share, a lot of people are like, oh, I feel so much better. Somebody sent me this beautiful text, and she said, Tuan, let me know if you need anything. So glad you're sharing your story. Just know that you are loved, and that um you know you are such a gift to all of us because you uplift us.
Right.
And and I know that that's a part of my grandma, that she's uplifted me and gifted me with this spirituality, this positive outlook on life. And I feel our grandma, isn't it interesting that like we both are grandma's boys? How, like this daddy's girl, mommy's boy. It's like I am grandma's boy all the way, you know and she's raised
I'm
us.
spoiled all around. My
I
mother, my
know.
grandmother, my dad, yeah, no. I can own it now.
I
Growing
know.
up, I wouldn't own it, but
Yeah, right. Exactly. And talking about owning, it's like really like owning your story. Like there's only one you. There's only one you that has this, even if you're a twin, has this fingerprint.
right,
Only one you that has your thoughts, and
right.
your energy, and how powerful that is. And my friend, the journalist friend that I was talking about in San Diego, we were just talking about how we like, we sure we like our car, sure we like our apartments, or like whatever the material things that makes you happy, but joy really comes from service and using your power and using your
Right.
life and your talents and things that you're naturally good at to like help people. And that's joy, sustained joy.
It
And
is.
that's what we're
It
all
is.
here for.
And the first step, I think, into getting into that space of owning your truth is being able to be, first of all, vulnerable with it and understanding that your power actually lies in your vulnerability. Now, that doesn't mean
Ooh.
necessarily go out and start telling your story to everybody, because everyone has not earned the right to hear your story.
Yeah,
But
don't,
first,
and
you have to
also
be
don't
vulnerable
spread
with
your
yourself.
business if, yeah, yep, don't
Right.
spread your
Yeah.
business if you don't feel like it's right. Yep.
Right. No. Yeah. And you got to be comfortable with it, because, like they say, if you don't want to tell it to everybody, then don't tell it to anybody. So you got to
Yeah,
make sure that
yeah,
that you've released it, so that whatever
yeah,
happens to it in the world, once you let it
yeah,
go, you've already dealt with it internally. So you're not being influenced by those external factors. I think once you can do that, then you step into your power, and
yeah,
then each time you share something, and I'm still, even though I've been sharing a lot of my story over the years, there's still a lot of my story that I haven't shared.
yeah. Same
Um,
here.
but I find that it always resonates with someone, and then they reciprocate and they give me something, and this exchange of these little spiritual or life nuggets
Gems.
are just
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
They're just wonderful,
I love
and they
that you
keep
also said
enriching the
that,
journey.
I love that you said that, like not everybody deserves your energy and deserves to hear your story. I love that because um, not all of us should be sharing with, certain people. Like there's certain people that I know that are, that share my bloodline that I'm like, oh, hells no, I'm not going to share with her because,
Oh,
yeah,
hell no.
drama. All they do is talk mess, and so I get that, but I think it's also important that in this whole scenario of when you really feel like you're in the depths and the rungs and the throes of either depression or thinking about hurting yourself, that you're not alone, and there is
Right.
hope. around that feeling. You can pull yourself out of that darkness and into the light by sharing that with that. It could be just one person that you really care about.
Right. As long as you know you're not alone. Sometimes you feel
yes,
like you
alone
are
in what you're
all
doing.
alone.
Yes. Yeah.
But you never really truly are, but sometimes it feels that way.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Sorry.
And you know, it made me think too about like Anthony Bourdain's life and about how lonely it really feels. Everybody thinks, oh, fabulous. I mean, just the week before, I was just like, oh, he has a fabulous life. You know, I don't know if a commercial came up or whatever. And I'm like, oh, he gets to travel, he's making good money, he eats, you know, that's great.
That's
you
the
know?
highlight reel.
Yeah, right. The highlight
Right.
reel. Yeah, exactly. And so I think it hits really hard when you hear like him, or like when you hear like Kate Spade, legend, fashionista, sold a company for $2.7 billion, you know, apparently a year before. And then you hear this happen. And, you know, it's a reminder, I think, to me to really be grateful for this life that I have, not what I don't have.
Right.
You know, when I feel sad or in the throes of, oh, but this and that, or my brother-in-law left behind 2 kids and his wife and us and blah, blah, blah. But you know what? I've shared this before publicly, but, you know, my nephew recently said, Drew, 13, he said, you know, Dad dying wasn't all a bad thing, Uncle Toan. And I was like, what? And he was like, because, you know, there's a lot of good things. I get to experience more now that I'm in Sacramento. I get to see you guys and more family that I love. You know, and when you're in that space of gratitude, I mean, gosh, you have so much to learn from these little angels that are sent our way, these little kids, you know. And why don't we, you know, share much of our stories? Why don't we, like, you know, my nephew just called day before yesterday, and he was just like, Uncle Toan, I thought about you, about these shorts, and they reminded me of you. You know, why can't we? You know, why do we have to wait till somebody dies to honor them? You know, and I think that's what's also tying back to Oprah's, watching Oprah Smithsonian, you know,
Give them their flowers while they're here and alive.
Right? Exhibit. Yeah, it's like, send the love, send the flowers now. And, you know, I wasn't sharing that blog that Kevin just posted, reposted, or shared the link of, that I wrote here about my grief recently. But, you know, I didn't do it for attention, but what was great was people reached out to me to tell me their stories and to tell me what I meant to them.
Right.
And what the people that they've lost meant to them. And I think that's really special. And I think it's really important. I'm getting from this whole conversation is that we need to do a better job at just reaching out and sending love. If there's somebody that you know that's down,
and sometimes do it to strangers as well. Send that love out to strangers. Yeah. Sometimes just smiling at someone instead of flipping them off or helping them out. Just something just simple, because you never know what someone is going through. Just random acts of kindness, something. Yeah. But there's got to be, I mean, the universe is screaming to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get your ish together.
We need to get that made on a shirt. You do you, boo, and get your ish together. You know.
Oh my goodness! Do we have any questions this week from?
Yeah,
we
do
family?
Here. Let me look at my Facebook thing here. Hold up. I'm just trying to get my stuff together here. Give me a second.
Yesterday, and something else I always say, you should not, wasn't yesterday, it wasn't yesterday, whatever. You should always pamper yourself, put yourself on your schedule.
Oh, I love that.
I call them my rich white woman spa days, and I had one of them.
I love that.
I had one a couple days ago, and the facial was awesome. And then Tao, you met Tao when you were in Atlanta. Is like incredible.
Your mentee, yeah.
Yes, he is like. Well, he also does not just massage therapy, but I don't know. I don't know what the correct terminology is for, but that's in his wheelhouse. Yeah. But he was amazing, and I'm like, woohoo! My body's
that's
like,
so
woo!
Awesome. So I say
all that to say you must pamper yourself. Put yourself on your schedule.
Yeah, I mean, and pampering yourself could just be like Monday. So I wrote that blog and I was crying when I heard of the news like late last week, and then on Monday, you know what? I just did nothing. I just laid on the couch all day, looked at my phone, stared out the window for a while, and that was really cathartic for me. You know, and again, you do you your own way. So I need to do your rich white woman day. I love I love pampering myself. Yeah. So yeah, segment 3, Talk to ToLo, is where we take your questions. And there's a question, and it was a multiple part sort of like statement question, but the whole idea of this woman named Lauren from LA that was saying that she is trying to harness her power of sharing her story more, and how important it was to share her stories of her travels on Instagram, and how important it was to talk about it's okay when I do have, when I do have delays, it's okay. It reminds me to be patient. And then people like really resonate with that. And it's all about sharing your truth, you know? And however, she was like, I'm sharing my stories more, sharing my pain, sharing the things that I'm facing. And one of the things that I do face, she had mentioned, was how do you not compare yourself to others? Because she too was a TV reporter formerly in the SoCal area. And she was like, yeah, when I would see people jumping from this market to the network, or this small TV city market to a bigger city, I would be jealous. And now, I'm learning to be okay with that more. And I was like, I'm proud of you for that, right? And so how do you not compare yourself to others? And especially I want to ask you that question, because for you, being a social media influencer, and life seems so perfect in those little Instagram squares, right? So how do you not compare yourself when you see other people,
Once again, Instagram, social media, that is the highlight reel. There's a lot of stuff that happens in between those posts. But I would tell you something that I heard Iyanla Vanzant say a couple of years ago that resonated with me. She said, comparison is an act of violence against one's self.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, I hadn't thought about it. I was like,
wow.
And so when you think about it like that, like who would violate themselves like that, or be violent towards themselves like that? And if you are so busy looking in that lane and looking over here at what she's getting, or what it looks like he or she is getting, you're missing the blessing that's coming in front of you. You can't see it. Your blessing's like, hey, fool, I'm right here.
Oh my God, I love that.
You can't hear because you're over here worried about what Sue's got going on, or what Tommy's got going on over there. And you just can't do that. So that, I think, got me right together. That comparison was an act of violence against myself.
Oh, I love that.
Okay.
Ooh, that's
and I still have to use that daily, because there are some times when things are happening, and sorry, I'm trying to get this camera together. There are sometimes where things are happening. I have to remind, like, wait, are you comparing yourself to that? And I'll have these conversations in my head, like, are you really? Are you? Yeah, you really are. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know what?
No.
Yeah, you know what? That's the thing about being present. I'm so much better now when I'm watching. I'm like, when I have that moment, I'm like, I check myself. It's almost like when I also feel like my heart starts beating if somebody says something that is challenging or offends me, for me to just go back to my breath. And I'm getting so much better at that. Now, Kevin says the challenge is being genuinely happy for other people's success. I mean, isn't that the truth? So Jackie Rooms says, hey, bro, your UK.
Oh, I love Jackie from London.
Yeah, she said, yo, UK sister here. Since losing my brother in 2016 at the age of 48, oh my God, I'm sorry. I totally took look at life differently and pamper myself and socialize more. I don't take life for granted anymore. Definitely spending more quality time with my family. Yes, that's the thing is, it might sound strange, but the fact that I lost all these people makes me want to live life more now. Why wait till you get diagnosed with some life debilitating disease, right? Death sentence. Why wait till that bad thing happens? Why enjoy? I'm enjoying this conversation and soaking it in, not thinking about, okay, the next thing I gotta do, the next thing,
but just being in the moment. Oh, I thank you so much for that, Jackie, because that is, and I love her. She's someone that I've known for years, like about almost 20 years.
Oh.
And every time I go to the UK, well, not every time, but I used to hang out a lot. But I like her. She's got a beautiful daughter, and it's interesting because she really does. She does walk that walk, and her family is like so gorgeous. I did not know that about her brother.
Oh, see, thank you for sharing. Gosh, I love that.
But thank you so much
Kim,
for sharing that.
How are you? I love that I learned something new about you today. You learned more about me. And why not share? And why not? This is my challenge to everybody, is that when you think about somebody, just send them some love, whether it's a quick text, a quick photo, something, a quick link to something you saw. Like when you think about them, don't just be like, oh, I'll do it later, And
don't just wait until you need them.
Yes. Amen. Yes.
send them some love now when they cross your mind. I do that
Yes.
even with like networking. I don't wait until
Me
I
too.
need something
Yep.
from you. No, I'm like, if you cross my mind or something triggers your thought in my
Yep.
in my head, I shoot something out to you. But
Yep.
some little beacon of love goes out some kind of way.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that. And another challenge that we do have is, you know, we keep burying our fourth segment is the digital detox.
Okay, let's just be real about this digital detox. We're hooked. We're addicts. I don't even want to. I downloaded this damn app.
The whisper,
You got so
whatever
mad
that
you
freaking
deleted the
mute
app.
app. Well,
But
yeah, don't worry. Sorry,
we're
I
addicts.
just shut it off because I'm like, stop trying to shame me.
We're addicts. I've tried, and I get the little frown face emoji every day.
Yeah.
3 hours on your phone, Lonnell. 4 hours.
I got
on your
the no I one.
150 pickups today. Yeah.
Yeah, I
so
got
I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
It'll give me like a reward for like being off the phone for 3 hours, but that's like if I've taken a nap.
Yeah.
But like when I'm up, I'm usually either working on. So I just still have to find ways to digitally detox. I'm looking for suggestions out there. Somebody
help us, please. Yes. And with school getting out, all you mamas, daddies, guardians, all you guys, like, tell us. Please tell us on our timeline. Send us a private DM. Shame yourself. Shame us. Like, we need some help.
Right. Yeah. And like with the kids being out of school, how are they detox? How are the parents detoxing?
Okay. I would be on the phone. I'd be like, here's the phone. Take it.
I know my little nephew went to camp, so Jennifer's got a little break there. I know that. I don't know how long he's going to be there, but so the moms out there, or the parents, period.
Mommies, daddies, sisters, brothers, friends, cousins, whoever, somebody.
Yeah, let us know. I'd like to know what you're doing, like when the children, because that just sounds like, because I don't have children, and that was never on my bucket list, but that's another conversation. But if you do have them and they're out for the summer, you know, how do you detox? How do you get them to detox? How do you get them to maintain their sanity without sacrificing your own?
We need some help with that. Okay, so Kim here says, hold up. She said here, thanks for reconfirming that life is not promised and neither is tomorrow, and live for today. So no time to wait, or quote, save it for the special moment. Live in the here and now. Hey, you know what I do all the time?
Kim.
Whenever anybody comes over, they're like, dang, like you put out the brass chargers every time you light a candle. Like people like look at my Toan and Lonnell TV Instagram, and they're somebody said I got a diffuser. I'm so Toan now. Or people will send me photos of like a flower arrangement, or they set up their table nicely. Why not live now? Enjoy it now. Enjoy this conversation now. And that's why I love talking to you so much. I love engaging with everybody so much. I know we gotta go pretty soon, but hey. What's up, you guys? I jumped back on to say goodbye because I don't want to be rude and jump off so abruptly, but my phone overheated right when Lonnell and I were talking about digital detox and how we need to detox. God was like, shut off your phone. Okay, let me see if I could add you. Kevin's on. Let me see if Lonnell, wait till Lonnell gets on. What a great conversation today. Really inspired me to be more mindful of sharing my story more openly with people, being more vulnerable, but also taking the initiative to send love to people, whether it's sending a quick text message or an email or a quick call when I'm thinking about them. Let me see if waiting for Lonnell to get back on to say goodbye. But yeah, we really, really, really would love for you to share your story on our timeline. There's been several people last week. I want to thank you guys for sharing a review of what we've meant to you, what the show has meant to you. Every Wednesday, there are people have sent some pretty heartfelt messages on how this show and our words of wisdom and our collective words of wisdom have helped other people. So I'm waiting for Lonnell to get back on here. Lonnell, where you at? But my phone overheated. That's so funny. But yeah, digital detox. Would love to hear more about how y'all digitally detox, especially for you parents and guardians out there with summer here and your kids not in school, and how you're taking care of them. So let me see if Lonnell's going to get on, and if not, I'm going to say goodbye for him. But yeah, this has been a very emotional week, and thank you everybody for sending love to people that you care about, people that have read the blog that Kevin had posted when I shared the, hey Nate, the blog that I shared about sharing my grief. And so many people, again, have reached out both publicly on my Facebook timeline and also privately in text messages and calls and private DMs. Yeah, it's been a really crazy week. And my hope is that anybody listening, thank you, Nathan, that everybody listening takes some time to do you. You do you, boo, is what Lonnell and I were talking about earlier, and how we need to share our pain with people and share our stories, because it gives other people permission to share their stories. So thank you so much for watching. We love you guys, and please share your stories either publicly on our timeline here at YOLO with ToLo, or share it private DM. And if you have any questions on how we can help you get through your challenges, we'd love to answer them or crowdsource an answer for you. Thanks, guys. Mwah. Love you. Bye.